Welcome to the Clashing of Steel. And so today I will be having fun with Scipio. I will be adapting to my team's playstyle and actually lose a couple of chances because of that adaptation. Simply said, whenever I play a match, I try to adapt to my opponents or to my friendly players, so I can try and play with them better and even work in some cases as a proper team. Often that is not the case, and my adaptation to my team or to my opponents can often bring my downfall. Although I won't crush in this match as heavily as I could, I still miss some chances, and the way I adapt kinda makes me question my choices, which can often be a bad case. If you're unsure, you don't know what to do, and you just keep running around in circles, that is the obvious wrong choice. And I almost was at the edge of that in this match. The only wrong choice in these types of engagements is doing nothing. I mean, there are many choices. You can either circle around, you can harass, but staying put and doing nothing is the worst choice, and I was pretty much next to the second worst choice, running around knowing not what to do. But then again, I must consider that I was playing horsemen, and horsemen kinda need their team to make or pave way for them, so to say. I basically shy away from obvious choices when I see my team going on the defensive, being very careful and, well, not very careful, but being on the defensive once they know something like this has happened. This was a bad choice actually, and I am doing several bad choices as well. I could flip it all around if I would have some support, but no. And I'm assuming too much in this situation. I'm thinking, okay, this is bad, this is gonna be horrible, and I'm not taking into consideration that the spearmen have to act. I'm being unnecessarily careful in situations where I could be rather useful. And I simply do not know why I did this. Perhaps I wasn't considering that the spearmen had to act. And perhaps there were several other factors, but finally I think it's time to turn the things around. So basically this is where I go offensive, where I should have gone a long while ago. But perhaps it was unfortunate, because otherwise the spearmen might have acted accordingly against me and everything might have changed. Still, there are several other opponents who annoy me quite heavily, quite a lot. I am managing to get behind enemy spearmen, and this is where I will shine. Although I have made several poor choices, and some of that because I was trying to adapt to my team, I will flip it around in this situation. The ranged units have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to escape. They get hammered from this side, and they get hammered from that side. So we have won basically on two fronts. The spearmen could have probably boxed them in, built a box somewhere against the wall, and archers could have been safe inside of that, slingers as well. Although they would have died eventually, they would have had better chances and could have done perhaps even reasonable damage against many opponents. I hate some of these matches where I see my team members being very careful, very defensive after they understand they've made a wrong move, and often after acting wrong according to it. And from that I try to adapt to defensive tactics, which in this match was somewhat of a bad move by my opinion. But well, these types of matches happen, especially when one side has a huge number of forces and just dominates that side and forces in from the flank for the opponents to react. Actually, one of the big tactical errors was we did not defend our side of the map. We didn't have direct options, and seeing as our handlers did not act the best of their abilities, they kinda failed, and so the horsemen were left alone, which was a rather bad option. And so we focused the last remnants from two sides. And this is always interesting when you get to hammer your opponents always on two fronts. They get routed rather fast and are, well, bound to die because they're surrounded. As it could be seen from the beginning of the match, I had several missed chances where I could have been useful, made myself a decent score and harassed opponents. It is rather horrible that I missed those great chances where I could have gone aggressive right away and, well, finished off their ranged units. But these things happen, even to the best of us. I was trying to adapt to the new plan of staying defensive and perhaps even trying to defend the base. But seeing how the things turned out, it wasn't that bad. And now I'm doing one other wonderful thing. I see the Scipio trying to run away with his oath. But I'm not gonna let that happen. So this is the downside of the Oath of Preservance. You can pop it and it can be useful. But it might not be worth it, seeing as your movement speed is reduced, you might be surrounded and you cannot run away from the fight. Basically, in this match I have only been useful at trying to take down the ranged units, or trying to block in the opponents, not much more. But there's actually one other option that I have left in this current situation. I see the javelins, which could have made a lot of difference in this specific location with the right defense, and they're gonna die just because I say so, and just because their side is open. So this was pretty much it of the match. I actually failed miserably by my personal opinion. I could have been more useful, I could have tried to harass a bit more, I could have tried to go around from the other side, and so. As I saw it, there were several missed opportunities, but then again I was forced on the defensive and I tried to adapt to my team members on my side of the map. But okay, let's take a look at the scoreboard. As it appears, I am the 4th player in my team. I did a lot of offense, I did some defense, mostly from the slingers I'm guessing, some support, and of course a bit of capturing. The worst handled players in my team just pretty much died thanks to a slinger fight because they were stacked and they did not use their units properly. But fortunately our swordsmen, javelins, and I think there was one archer unit were rather offensive enough to take one side and force onto opposing base, where the spearmen, archers and slingers were dealt with. The opposing javelin commanders do not seem to ever surprise me. I already expect to see half the javelin players around TS6 to be Germanicus. But I did not expect for them to be so useless, sad to say. At least I was able to grab those opportunities before they slipped away, where I could flank the ranged units and flank the opponents in general. I usually try to adapt to my opponents, or if I can't, to my team members. In this match it was a obvious bad choice, because if I would have gone the whole way with trying to adapt to my team members, I might have just gone running around or running behind my base and circling there. Although this match could be considered a success, the whole time I was playing I felt that I had made so many unnecessary horrible moves. But we learn from our mistakes, and so we adapt and are better the next time we are in a similar situation. I hope that nothing this confusing ever happens to anyone, because it is horrible when you look back at it. Everything seems so obvious, but the moment you try and adapt to your team members, you might turn a blind eye to everything that is logical, and from that you must pay. I almost did it, perhaps I even somewhat did it, but fortunately I was able to still be useful and managed to get there to force opposing ranged units into a situation they were not capable to handle. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.